Welcome into the Pursuit of Manliness podcast, where we are vigorously equipping men to pursue biblical manliness. My name is Jarrett Samuels. I'm the host of the Pursuit of Manliness podcast. Man, thanks for taking time and checking out today's show. On today's show, I'm going to give you 3 books that I recommend every man must have in his library. If you don't have a library as a man, it's time to start building one. If you have a son-in-law, a coworker, somebody in your life that needs to be resourced up, make sure you check out this podcast. I'm going to give you the 3 books that I believe have been incredibly instrumental in my life up to this point when it comes to biblical manliness. Guys, there's a ton of great books out there, and I would love for you to leave a comment below this podcast or wherever you're watching this and let me know some books that have been instrumental in your life to being a biblically equipped man of God. And then the last book is, I'm just going to hold it up. It's called The Warrior Soul by Jerry Boykin and Stu Weber. I have since read other Stu Weber books. They are all really good, and for many of the reasons that I'm going to share here in just a minute. This is $10.75 on Amazon. Currently right now, the men in Tribe are going through this book, and we are here's the reason. Here's why this book is so important. The Warrior Soul is almost a title that I would ignore. I just told you a second ago that, not overly manly man. Like, if you say, hey, I'm going to hang drywall, I'm not your guy. Okay. If we're repairing something, you need to call somebody else. I can write a check, but I'm not good at doing that. Lowe's, it's a minimum of 3 trips. If I have to do anything, going to Lowe's, Home Depot, whatever. But here's the other problem. Sometimes in our Christian culture, the man language, we have taken it, I believe, out of context. It sounds a lot better than what it is. And Promise Keepers was the best of this. Stand in the gap. That there was, they had several phrases that were very good, but were we really doing that? Okay. Some of our man language might be that we're locking shields. We're standing shoulder to shoulder. We have iron sharpens iron. And I'm trying to think of some others. I'm not knocking anyone that uses this. Okay. If that's you, use it, be authentic with it. That is great. For me, I didn't feel comfortable using that. I actually told a guy that I used to work with that, I'm like, I just struggle with that language because sometimes we use this language and it sounds like iron sharpening iron. But what we're doing is we're eating biscuits and gravy at the table where our wives just sat 2 nights before watching Beth Moore, and all we did was move the candle in the doilies, but we're sharpening iron. No, we're all facing one direction, watching someone talk to us for 20 minutes. We're going to have a closing prayer. We're going to go home. And we'll spend more time probably talking about, the Super Bowl or March Madness or the weather or politics or gas prices. I mean, more guys in our church talk about rain gauges and how much rain they got at different places than what they're reading in the Bible, right? If we're going to do that, let's make sure that that's our focus. And I know when I started Tribe, I had a guy knock me because he didn't like the phrase tribe. A tribe is this, and he wasn't wrong with what he was saying. But we're using a version of Tribe that is building a tribe. So in our book, in our Tribe, we're reading The Warrior Soul. We're reading a chapter every 2 weeks. This is not a book that you should fly through. If you do it, you're cheating yourself, okay? He makes you think about your presence in all environments. All environments. From your quiet time with God to standing in the marketplace, okay? Our actions reflect what we fight for and what we stand for. And again, that language is great if you're doing those things. But if you're doing those things and we're losing our kids and we're losing our marriage and we're only going to men's ministry, we're not volunteering anywhere in the house, in the church, we're not leading in the marketplace, we're not leading in our communities, then we're really not doing that, okay? He connects us to Jesus, who is the only truly authentic example of manliness. The rest of us are just copying that. Even people that we look up to as very manly, they're copying God's version of manliness. Sometimes in a pretty good way and sometimes not in a good way. And again, I want you to know, if you read this book, really if you read the other 2 books as well, do not fly through them because you will cheat yourself. These are not books that you read to put on your shelf to say, I read X number of books a year. I read a substantial number of books a year, and sometimes in December, I will just fly through a handful of books that I know, I just want to get that off my shelf. I'm sick of looking at that book. I'm not going to read it. I'm just going to devote, a couple days. I'm going to bang these books out. I don't believe these books are it.